creatures of the night. It's your girl Tati. Let's talk about AEW Full Gear predictions. I'm not doing my typical setup for my prediction videos. Your girl is tired from traveling from Arlington, so y'all still get me. Y'all still get me in my predictions. Now, we have a pre-show match. So for only one, QT Marshall and some idiots from TikTok. I don't know who they are. Never seen a video from them. Never seen nothing. They've been really trying to push this to help at least the audience of people who don't watch wrestling to tune in to wrestling. And I understand, but I don't think the wrestling fans give a fuck about this at all. I'm not seeing people feeling like this is even worth the watch. I mean, this is QT Marshall. We haven't really seen him wrestle since before he was let go. Like, was that last year or some shit like that, or earlier this year? Nobody cares. So however this goes, I just don't care. I can see them TikTok people taking the win. Whatever, who cares? We don't have any other matches for 0 Hour. Y'all know Tony Khan will give you another 2, 3, or 4 matches for that. Let's get to the main card. Now, Mariah May, Mina Shirakawa are having a championship celebration thing that's probably not going to be worth our time. Will we see Tony Storm come back? I don't know. I want to say it was like 2 days ago, Tony Storm basically retired from pro wrestling. And basically she said something about put your chin down, put your tits in, and don't watch out for the flying shoe. And I was just like, bitch, what do you mean by that? Where you going? So she's retired. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we won't see her from quite some time, and maybe gearing towards the Australia pay-per-views when Tony Storm come back. So in terms of her ruining that celebration thing at the pay-per-view, I don't see it being Tony Storm. Now, let's get into the matches. Kyle Fletcher versus William Ospreay. We've seen this before. For me, the stakes are a little bit higher here because Kyle Fletcher, who has been feeling like people keep comparing him to Will Ospreay, he feels like he's a better wrestler. I'm a little bit over Will Ospreay. I feel like they overdid it with Ospreay since he has joined the company, and we've seen a lot of Will Ospreay prior to him being in AEW. So for me, I want to see Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher has been putting in a lot of work. He also was the TV champion in Ring of Honor, and some of his really great matches was over there. So I feel like he's grown a lot. He has a new look, and he just looked like he's ready for something big. I think it would be a huge opportunity for William to, let his friend take a little win here this one time. I would love to see Kyle Fletcher take the win, but I feel like William Ospreay will take it. Now, we have Swerve Strickland versus Bobby Lashley. For me, this is what I'm probably the most excited about. Something about this. Bobby Lashley's debut match on Dynamite was just not it. We love to see Cheeseburger in them, but it was just like, why did we do this for his debut match when Shelton had an amazing debut match? I felt like this should have been a little bit more thoughtful in terms of how we're building the Hurt Syndicate. That Bobby should have had a better, bigger opponent, even if it was some independent wrestler. Just was not the right choice in terms of his debut. So I'm gonna feel like we're just gonna forget that happened on Dynamite, and we're gonna just look at his match with Swerve to be his debut match, if you will. I'm a little bit divided in this. I don't mind seeing either one of these two guys take the win, but I do feel like Hurt Syndicate really need this, especially after that foolishness on Dynamite of Bobby's match. He needs to come in much stronger than this. And if he takes this win over Swerve, who's the most dangerous man in AEW, I think that would be a huge opportunity. And then they can move forward wherever the hell the storyline is going, because I have no clue. I don't mind whoever takes the win here, but I think Bobby actually needs it. Up next, Jay White versus Hangman Adam Page. For me, I don't know about the rest of y'all. I just don't give a fuck. And I said this for the last pay-per-view. Why did we waste putting that match between the two of them on at the last pay-per-view? Was that Wrestle Dream? I think that was Wrestle Dream. And I was just like, they only had less than 2 weeks to put something on, something new between Jay and Hangman. They could have just let this shit ride out until Full Gear for them to have a match instead of rushing it the last pay-per-view. So in my opinion, I felt like for this, they should have had some type of stipulation to make it more interesting instead of it feeling like a one-on-one thing like what we just had at the last pay-per-view. So for me, there was some missed opportunities here with this match. But when I'm looking at this, Hangman been looking kind of like a little bit of a sore loser as of late, especially with that leg that's been bothering him that he's been dragging around. He needs to win, but honestly, I don't know where this is going. I do want to say this though. I've been seeing posts these past few days on social media about how people just don't see anything within Jay White. They don't see him being a main event guy. They don't see him being a poster child for AEW or whatnot. And I found that to be very interesting. And I do want to say, like, Jay White, New Japan, Jay White is different from Jay White and AEW. And unfortunately, it's like that where when you move to another company, you're not the big deal like how you were somewhere else. And I feel like that's very, very hurtful for someone like Jay White and what he's been able to accomplish in his career. But he's young. There's still a lot of time to fix things up with him in AEW. But for this, I feel like Heyman needs to win a lot more. So up next, we do have MJF versus Roderick Strong. I'm tired of the story, y'all. I'm tired. I don't know where we're going with this. I really, myself and a lot of people, don't really know why they've continued this story, especially when it's when they seemingly like kind of hung it up a little bit, and then all of a sudden they open the doors to this again. I don't understand it. I am looking forward to the match itself with Roderick and MJF. However, Adam Cole seems to still be involved heavily with MJF for what reason nobody gives a fuck about. So will there be shenanigans? I can actually see there being shenanigans with this match. Now, I personally would have loved to see Roderick and the Undisputed Kingdom get together. What's homeboy name in the conglomeration? Kyle O'Reilly and them. I would love to see them being the heels, but there's just no way somebody's going to out heel MJF. So looking at this, MJF takes the win. But then again, what do you do with MJF after this? I still feel like somehow, some way, at World's End, we'll get Adam Cole versus MJF, and nobody cares about that. So now, they just added this a couple of hours ago. Can y'all believe this? This was one of the first things that they actually set up for this pay-per-view. Konosuke Takeshita versus Ricochet, which is so interesting to me how just a couple of hours they actually made it official. I've been saying this whole time, like, haven't they made this match official? And they never have until earlier today, which is very interesting to me. Like, this is one of the first things that they have playing out. We saw this playing out slightly before Wrestle Dream. We've seen some interactions between Ricochet and Takeshita even outside of AEW as well. So felt like there was kind of a bit of an afterthought that after all this time that this would be one of the last matches on this is the last match that they've added onto the main card. Now, Takeshita, baby, you bringing the title back home. That's all that I have to say about that. Ricochet, I think he's great. He said the other day, but he's capable of being the top guy at AEW. I mean, that could be the case, but it ain't your time, baby. Not right now. Takeshita, we've been praying for Takeshita to be in this situation, and here he is with a title. With that being said, Takeshita has been an amazing champion. I know it hasn't been long, but Takeshita has been putting this title on the line outside of AEW, which I feel like the company has done a horrible job of letting people know what's going on with that. So I try to review those matches and those situations where Takeshita has been putting that title on the line, and he's done amazing. Even having what I feel like is match of the year contender with Mike Bailey at the Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling show. And Tony Khan, I don't know what's going on. Like, why aren't you letting people know what your international champion is doing internationally? And that right there is bothering me. It really is. So for me, Takeshita, even though y'all probably got your eyes on Ricochet, I think Takeshita needs to show a lot more. Well, no, not that Takeshita needs to show a lot more. I think the company needs to keep this title on Takeshita so they can show a lot more of what Takeshita has to offer, because I don't think they've done a great job at that. So for me, Takeshita for the win. All right, so now we have the AEW Tag Championships on the line. Private Party versus the Outrunners versus Kings of the Black Throne. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, my God. Anyway, versus the Acclaimed. I don't know what we're doing. Top Flight should have been in this. I don't give a fuck about what nobody said. Outrunners, I love the Outrunners. They're great. They're really, really great. Something about maybe I'm just being a little pussy about this, but I'm just like, all right, y'all have people that has been in the company for a long time. They're putting in the work. They're putting in, you know, they're doing some of the best stuff in pro wrestling in your company, and we just overlook them and just go like, oh well, you know what, this team right here, the Outrunners, they're grown in popularity the past month or so. Let's put them in a title match. I don't want to take the opportunity away from them, but I'm just looking at Top Flight, these young kids. They've been over there for the longest, and I'm worried about them once again being lost in the shuffle. But you know, at least Private Party, they are champions. There are another group of young guys who are getting opportunity, but I would love to see more young stars getting some type of opportunity, because when it's time for their contracts to be negotiated, they ain't gotta have no problem showing them that they're going to be out the door and probably going over there to Uncle Shawn Michaels over there on NXT. Now, the Acclaim, they ain't winning this. I'm not even gonna get into that. Private Party, they've done nothing but take pictures on Instagram with the titles. That's all they've done since they won, to be honest with you. I would prefer to actually see them do something. People are looking at them as transitional champions, so that the Outrunners can be the ones to get the titles next. And honestly, I don't even see that happening either. Yes, they've grown in popularity, but I just feel like transitional champions so the Outrunners can get it next. I just don't see that being the case. But then again, Tony Khan has shocked us before, so we'll see what happens with that. I do believe Private Party will take the win. If not, very close. The Kings of the Black Throne, like there's like a 5% chance. Other than that, everyone else 0%. All right, AEW TNT Championship on the line. We have Jackson Perry versus Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia, bruh, I don't know what that was about on Dynamite. They kidnapped Jackson Perry. That's the word I'm going to use because that's what it was. They kidnapped him. They put him somewhere in some warehouse. They tied him to a chair. They doused like water on him, something, and then here's Daniel Garcia with a crowbar, and I'm like, oh, so you gonna beat this bitch up? I like to see you do it. But instead, he just put marks onto the damn ugly truck that was already marked up to begin with. And I'm just like, well, where is that fire in you to want to be the TNT champion? Something about it, Danny Garcia, we're going to have to work on that. If you need a manager, give me a call. For this, I would prefer to see Jackson Perry retain. This is one of those situations where it's like, this is a young guy with the title. Yes, he's had the title for a little bit. But I feel like we haven't seen much of him either. And I just would love to see more. Some of these people, I want them to hold titles simply because we're not seeing anything other than them walking around with the titles and not really doing much. No big stories. Some of the stories is, Daniel Garcia, I don't know, something about it is just a little lackluster for me. I would love to see Jackson Perry to have a better title reign. This is what I'm saying. Like, it's really important because I feel like this 2024, all people care about is so-and-so have the title, but not necessarily what they do with the title. Sometimes when you look back at some of these legendary wrestlers and what they meant when it came to holding titles, it's a big fucking deal because they left a legacy behind it. I can't say there's a legacy in terms of Jackson Perry holding the TNT title. I can't say a legacy for Private Party. Like, you know what I mean? Like, leaving something behind so that when people think of a title, they're just like, oh, when I think of the IC title, I think of so-and-so, you know what I mean? And in these cases, some of these guys, they just, it's nothing. They just held the title and leaving no legacy behind. So I would love to see more Jackson Perry for the win for me. Wouldn't be surprised if Daniel Garcia took the win. TBS title is on the line. Statlander versus Mercedes Moné. One of the ones that I'm looking forward to the most. The only women's match on the main card. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Like, why both women's title can't be on the line. Y'all keep doing this thing where it's just like two ladies on a whole pay-per-view. Y'all got a whole roster of ladies and y'all just keep wasting time with giving us the same old things like Jay White and Hangman when y'all could have put at least another women's match on here. And I don't know, maybe it's just me just complaining, whatever. But, for me, I'm looking forward to this. We've never seen this, and I am cheering for both of them. I just want them to have a really great match. That's all I care about. Mercedes, I would like to see her retain, but I would love to get more out of her reign as champion. I feel like she hasn't done much, but she's given us a little bit, and I'm tired of teasers. I really want to see her also leaving a legacy behind with this TBS championship. I'm a little worried for Camille at this point, and within her role in AEW. I don't know where they're going with it, but Statlander, she's going to give us an amazing performance as usual, but I don't think she's going to win this title. Now, AEW World Championship on the line, Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy. Y'all know Orange Cassidy just doesn't do it for me at all, at all. I don't see this title going anywhere, to be honest with you. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like Jon Moxley is just getting started. And even if he isn't just getting started, I feel like we haven't seen anything really with the Death Riders. They've been coming out and attacking people, but I feel like when you really put all your brain cells together and think about everything you can conjure up for what this storyline can be, y'all haven't even scratched the surface. And I just feel like they're playing it safe so far with them just coming out and beating up on Orange Cassidy. If you would have asked me to help you beat up Orange Cassidy, I would do it too. However, this has to be more. There was at first, in the beginning of this whole thing, where it kind of seemed like Jon Moxley was talking about how some of these young guys are complacent with just having a contract and being part of the roster, but not really getting much out of their careers. He was saying that, not specifically to people like name dropping people, but he was saying that in terms of the younger talent, and he was saying that how there needs to be a change within AEW. And when him saying that, I thought that that meant that he was going to help some of these younger talent by giving them opportunities, even if that meant that they have to come to the dark side and be healed to do it. And you know what? Come on to the dark side, y'all. We got plenty of cookies over here. However, we have not seen that play out at all for anybody. Even Wheeler Yuta, who is part of the group, they've been beating his ass up. And he went against Orange Cassidy last night and lost. So I don't know where they're going with it. There's like, man, Tony Khan, give me a call if I need help with this storyline. Because like my diabolical mind has so much ideas that y'all can do to really push this storyline and also help the younger talent at the same time. Now, like I said, with that being said, Jon Moxley, for me, will take the win. Will there be shenanigans? I can see the whole show ending with a brawl of, Team AEW versus Death Riders. And that right there, I guess would be all right. But I will say this, is that, there's just not much going on with the Death Riders thing. It seems like a lot of the promos are just recycled things. We're just going to keep saying the same thing. Orange Cassidy has proved with the storyline that he is not interesting in terms of a promo guy. He is not a promo guy at all. But Orange Cassidy is the one to step up in the situation. And once he doesn't take the win, people are already speculating that it'll be Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley going for the title next. Whatever situation is, I just feel like we have not done enough with this storyline. So I would love to see a lot more play out of it. Guys, thanks so much for watching my predictions. Y'all can come back on the pay-per-view and watch the watch-along with myself and some of my friends as we watch the pay-per-view. Come have a good time with us and see how wrong I was about all my predictions. Well, not all of them. I'm pretty sure I'll get a couple of them right. I'm looking forward to Swerve's match with Bobby, TBS Championship match. I'm curious to see what happens with the tag team title match and then the world title match as well. I really don't care about seeing Jon Moxley versus Orange again, but I would love to see what ends up happening after that. Last year, Full Gear, I think, was much more promising in comparison to this one. This one right here is kind of giving filler pay-per-view vibes. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. Guys, thanks so much for watching my review. I'll do a review on pay-per-view and see how well the show went. I'll see you guys then. Bye.